What's going on YouTube? How is everybody today? How's everyone doing? You doing good? Right on. Today we're going to listen to, or talk about rather, Matthew Dear's new album, Black City, released in 2010 on Ghostly International. This is Matthew Dear's fourth album under his own name. He has a couple other projects out that are called Audion and Jabberjaw, False. Audion's one I really like. It's got this kind of crazy, demented, upbeat, kind of borderline house techno music. Pretty silly stuff. Yeah, on his fourth album, Black City, still maintains the whole sex appeal, the sexiness, seductiveness that he's had on a lot of his work. It's his fourth album under his own name. I don't know if I mentioned that already. And for the most part, it's a very kind of moody, very... I'd say it's a somewhat more or less upbeat affair. There's a couple of darker, colder, more restrained kind of songs on here that rely more on atmosphere and kind of icy synths and cold beats and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's got this very kind of R&B, disco, through the synth pop electronic vein kind of affair. Very seductive, especially in his vocal delivery. I think he's trying to channel a little bit of David Byrne in the whole way that he layers it, and just this general tone and sounds very much so like the lead singer of Talking Heads sounds on here, but through a little more of a flat delivery. He doesn't really have the kind of dynamic to be a total David Byrne, but he does his vocals in here very treated, very altered. He stretches and layers them to give them a little bit of depth. And the music on here is very shiny, very shimmery. It totally lives up to the whole Black City title. This is a very kind of darker toned affair, even though the mood doesn't really seem all that dark. The more I listen to it, the more I hear a little bit more of a lighthearted kind of playfulness going on. I can hear Matthew Dear having a lot of fun making this music, even though it does use a lot of, icy cold synths and all these kind of metallic beats, and all the songs in here start with the drum beat and the synth sounds, and all kind of squiggly and fun, kind of cold. But there's just so much going on, so much attention to detail on here. You can tell he's just really enjoying himself and just sitting around like, this sounds cool, I'm going to put in this weird sound effect interjection here and do a little acapella with myself here. I hear him having a very good time. It doesn't really live up to the whole synopsis that his record label put up for it. It's supposed to be like this kind of Gotham City kind of stuff, full of it's a composite and imagery of metropolis, people by desperate cases, lovelorn souls, and moral motives. Like, there are a little bit of a moral motives on here. A lot of the songs on here are, not surprisingly, have like sexual innuendos, and he's trying to seduce some weird stranger on the street from a limousine. Like, one of my favorite songs on here is called Soil to Seed, and pretty much every lyric in that song is like some sort of sexual metaphor, simile, innuendo. Very cool song. Matthew Dear is clearly a very prolific, creative guy. He actually helped found the label this came off to, Ghostly International. So he's a very restless guy, very productive dude. Does a lot with his free time, probably. This album has a lot of style. It's got a lot of substance. It shifts gears enough to stay engaging. I found myself only somewhat kind of liking it at first, but I've listened to it 3 times today. It's probably my 4th time going through it. And each time I'd listen to it, I'd like it more and more. More parts would be unveiled, more layers would be peeled away and stuff like that. There's a lot to discover on here, a lot going on. A lot of sounds coming out of this kind of bleak, shiny spaciness of it all. Like, when I say it's black, it doesn't mean like it's black like it's in a depressing, kind of angry, evil way. It's just black like a nighttime in the city kind of feel. Like a very kind of, I don't know, like you don't know what the night holds. It's kind of mysterious, kind of exciting. It's a good way to describe this album. The sound on here I would describe too as like maybe if you had like a mirror or a piece of glass and you shattered it. Like the sounds here are very shiny, very edgy, very sharp, and there's many fractured pieces going on here, and makes these kind of pretty little affairs. It's like, falling through the air and stuff like that. The light's catching different parts of it. There's always something new to discover. It makes this nice little kind of, I don't know, design, I guess. It's pretty cool stuff. The vocals too, another thing about the vocals is that they follow the lyrics very closely in the way that the lyrics are kind of scribbled and written. Like, the lyrics start off quasi-legible and slowly get more slurred and incoherent. It's exactly how he sings them too. Like, you kind of understand the words, and it gets more and more slurred, and you can't really read the writing, and you can't really understand what he's saying either. And another good example is this song. The whole first verse is scratched out, but in the song it's still there. It's still sung, but it's not in any kind of English language anymore. It's like mumbled and kind of, but in a very kind of way that it suits the song perfectly. It doesn't really sound stupid or anything. So it is very playful, even in the lyrics and the vocal delivery. Because some parts you can read what it says and you can hear what he's saying at the same time, but where it's scribbled out, you have no idea what he's saying. It doesn't even sound like English anymore. And it follows suit for pretty much the rest of the album, where it's printed, you can read it. Very, very cool thing that went on here. A couple of things I didn't like on here is a song called Monkey, that every line in the song uses the word monkey, references monkey and stuff. Kind of reminded me of Peter Gabriel's Shot the Monkey in that sense. I don't know, it's the whole monkey vibe I didn't really like. But the beat and the music on there I started to like. The more I listened to the song, the more time the song came on, and I'd listened to this album on random and listening to it all the way through. The song did grow on me, except for the whole monkey reference. And another thing this album could have used is maybe a little break from the whole Black City tone that was going on. Can you use it like some sort of weird instrumental or a weird interlude, just to let the listener come up for air momentarily, to get away from the whole desolate feel? Because it does kind of get a little tedious after a while. But the first time you listen to it, it'll be fine, but the more subsequent listens you go through, it'll get a little tedious. You want a little break, you want a little come up from air, just a little, step outside from the whole album just for a break. Just like a little brief respite from it would have been nice. But I don't know, that very, very minor complaints, like one song and something like, oh, I just wanted a break from it, but I was listening to it like 5 times in a day, so nothing too bad to say about it. Cover art's just some sort of little, I don't know, color inverted black and white picture of Matthew. I assume that's him. Then just some guy wandering out some sort of city street all by himself. The track listing, nothing on the inside. That's pretty much it. I showed you the lyric sheet. But yeah, a very good album. Like I said, it has a lot of style, has a lot of substance. Could have used maybe one left hook out of left field, but it does shift gears enough to stay engaging. Pretty good little piece of electro synth pop by way of like disco R&B. Very, very moody, very dark, very detailed, very rich. If you're a fan of like bands like, I don't know, Presets, The Human League, if you like Talking Heads kind of shit, Alien. Just very detailed, electronic music, very much so dancey, but it's also very good headphone music, because there is a lot going on here. It's very, very rich. It's kind of like a tapestry. That's what people like to say. It's Matthew Dear's 4th album on Ghostly International. It's called Black City, and it was released in 2010, and it's totally worth checking out.